Hi there, Jane from Aplos here. Just wanted to show you around a user that we have available for you that gives a user access to view only reports, and those reports are dependent on the access that you give that user. So you can give them access to view reports for an account, a fund, a tag, or a purpose. So I want to show you first how to create a custom report manager user and then what they get. So to create the user, you're going to click this gear icon here and then click users. Just as a side note, you have to be an admin user to be able to do this because you're the only one that has access to the settings tab. So again, I've clicked this gear icon and clicked users, and then I can add a user from here. So you'll follow the required fields: first name, last name, email, address, choose a role, and then assign a password. So I'm going to create a user, and then I'm going to click Custom Report Manager. Now this is where you're going to assign what you want to give that user access to. So you can assign multiple accounts, multiple funds, multiple tags, multiple purposes, one in each. You basically can add whatever you want to give them access to. You'll notice here there's a little note that if you want to select more than one, you'll hold down either Control, Command, or the Shift key. You can also just drag and select multiple at a time. If I want to give access to this fundraiser tag and then also this department tag, I'm on a Mac and I'm holding down my Command button and I clicked the administration. Now I've given access to view both tags. Then purposes are going to view donations according to that specific purpose. Create a password for them and then click save. Once you save this, then dependent on the email address you've put here, that user is going to receive an email to verify their account. You'll need to share with them the password that you created for them, then they'll be able to log in. If they'd like to change that password, they can do that in their profile. So again, I've created a couple users, 4 to be exact, and I want to show you what each of those users will get. Now again, these users will only have access to reports, so it's going to be limited based on the access that you've given them when you set up that user. So let me log out here and log into my first account. This is a user that I created that has access to an income account and an expense account. So you'll see that the reports that they have available are the comparative budget to actual. This compares the current month versus the year. So current month here, year here. They'll have options to change the layout here, and then share, save, print, or download these reports and change the date. The other report is a budget to actual report. So this will show income and expense accounts, the actual budget difference, and you'll be able to add the annual budget and the percentage. Also other options to change on that layout as well. So they'll be able to see, here's how much we've budgeted, here's how much we've spent. Let me add that actual budget and then their difference. Now back to the reports, you'll also have a transaction list by account report. So this will give the detail of any transactions that have been recorded to whichever income or expense accounts that you've given authorization to view. They can toggle the dates, they can change the layout as well. So that is a user who was given access to an income account and an expense account. Let me show you now a user who has access to just a purpose. Now this user has access to my building purpose. They are going to be able to see donations that I've received to that building purpose within the donations by contact report. So go ahead and click into that report, and these are the donations that have been received for that building purpose. So in this case, let's say you have a building campaign and you have someone who's helping with the campaign and they just want to stay up to date on what donations have been received. This is a good use of that custom report manager. They can log in, see the donations that have been received, change the dates, that sort of thing, filter by contacts, change the layout a little bit, and they will see what donations have been received to the building purpose to keep an eye out on how that building campaign is going. Okay, now I have a user who has access to a tag for my departments. So I'm going to log in and I'm landing on that reports page. They have access to a dashboard. It's pretty limited. It gives tutorial resources and video course links. So they'll be able to see those resources that we Aplos have made available to them. So again, this is a user who has access to one of my department tags. That's one of my advanced tags. And I've given them access to view their department. So this specific tag is for the marketing department, and this would be an employee of the marketing department. Maybe it's your marketing director and you want them to be able to see figures for the marketing department. So they'll have access to the income statement for only the marketing department. So it's any income or expense account that has the marketing tag on it. So I only have one currently, but you'll probably fill this report up on your end. And then the budget to actual. So this is if I had set a budget for my marketing department, they would be able to see how much has either come in or gone out, what has been budgeted here in the annual, and then differences as well as a couple other options here. So again, they have the same layout options as other report users that they can change around to see the department, the budget for the marketing department. Now, last but not least, I created a fund user. So this person has access to my missions fund. Let's say I have someone on staff who either may be a missions director or an admin for the missions department. Maybe it's someone who's volunteering to help coordinate different things for the missions department, and you have a fund for that missions department. So here is what you would get if you had a custom report user that had access to a fund. So we've got income statement by fund, which will show income and expense only for my missions fund. Balance sheet by fund, which will show balances of asset, liability, equity account just for the missions fund. Let me click in and show you that. I'll show you that income statement by fund as well. So again, these are only income and expense transactions for the missions fund specifically. And then I have a budget by fund report as well. So if you set a budget for that fund, they'll be able to, similar to the previous budget report that we looked at for the department tag, they'll have access to view any income expense according to the budget for that fund. And then lastly, the transaction list by fund report. This is similar to transaction list by account. This will be transactions to the missions fund specifically. So those are the reports that you get for a custom report manager who has access to a fund. You can, again, give a custom report manager access to multiple types of accounts or tags or purposes. They don't just have to stick with one type of access. So any of the reports that we just went over will be given to each custom report manager dependent on what access you've given them. So that will just give them the ability to log in, look at their transactions, look at their budget, see where they're at, and that way they don't have to come to you to get those reports all the time. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our support team at support@aplos.com.